This video was brought to you by etim.net.au, the makers of the GameGear TV board. What's going on, guys? So as some of you already know, I recently picked up a GameGear, and along with that I also picked up a GameGear TV board. And basically what this device does is lets you output the GameGear onto either composite, S-video or RGB. It's made by an Australian guy, his name's Tim. You can find him out at etim.net.au. And yeah, he's a pretty friendly guy. So that's really all I have to say in this intro, really. And I guess it's really time to get on with the review. Okay guys, so right off the bat, for those who don't know, the GameGear TV is an internal add-on which requires soldering to the motherboard. Now this may seem like a daunting job, but actually the points that you need to solder to are fairly easy. Now if you're looking to do the install yourself, I highly recommend checking out my installation tutorial right here on YouTube. Okay, so the PCB itself is actually very well made. As you can see, all the components are surface mounted and soldered on beautifully. The board that's shown here is the newer 2.2 revision, which uses tantalum capacitors. These capacitors are smaller and more efficient than the electrolytic capacitors used in previous revisions of the board. As I mentioned earlier, the install isn't as hard as it looks. All the points are located on the same side of the GameGear motherboard and are fairly easy to solder to. So long as you're using a good low wattage soldering iron with a fine tip and have a steady hand, you shouldn't have any problem with the install. The newer kits coming out are fitted with an 8-pin DIN connector that can be flush mounted on the bottom side of the GameGear. This connector is very low profile and doesn't get in the way when playing games. The only real downside to this is you can't have all three outputs going out the same cable. You have RGB and composite by default, but no S-video, and for some people this may be an issue. Sadly, the main downfall of this device is it does not scale the output when playing GameGear games, meaning that you'll have a large border around the game on the TV. Now most TVs have a zoom function which can help a little, but it would have been nice to have a full screen image. However, the output is full screen when playing Master System games. This is because the GameGear games are drawn to only fill the small built-in LCD, while Master System games on the other hand are actually compressed to fit the smaller resolution. The GameGear TV actually has a feature built in to disable this compression and allow Master System games to run in full screen. Okay, so I've been using this device for a few weeks now and I have to say I'm very impressed with it. It has a nice solid image and colours are spot on. It would have been nice to have full 480i scaling on GameGear games, but that's really the only downfall of it. It has a nice rock solid construction and is fully contained inside the console. One other thing I forgot to mention there, guys, is the price. It's only 52 Australian dollars, which I think is a really cheap price considering the overall quality. Once again, a big thank you to etim.net.au for sending me out this unit to take a look at, and I hope you guys enjoyed the review. See ya!